the money's made up, dude. When the money's
Yeah.
made up, you can just send hundreds of billions of dollars overseas to foreign entities, and there's no repercussions, right? Because you just print more. That's how modern monetary theory works. It's not like your family's balance sheet or my family's balance sheet where my wife makes X, I make X, we spend Y, and there's our budget, right? Federal budgets, especially when you're the world reserve currency, they don't work like that. Okay, maybe Zimbabwe can't do that, but the United States can. So my point is that I think a lot of people are kind of getting fed up with it. And if I had to describe myself as anything, it's probably like classical liberal, and that used to be like conservative.
Yes.
So anti-war, freedom of speech, smaller corporations, all that stuff. But anyway, that's like a weird controversial viewpoint now in 2025. You're against war? What? So my perspective is unique because, and you're the same age as me, but we went through 9/11, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria, bombing of Yugoslavia in 1999. I've held NATO bomb fragments in my hands. When I go back to Serbia, my dad's city, it used to be a post office. Now it's a big hole in the ground, right? This was during the 1999 bombings. So I've seen all this stuff firsthand. So I think a lot of people, when they talk about, war and all that stuff, until they've seen it firsthand, to them, it's almost like a game, like a video game. Like, oh, it's Halo, we're just blowing each other up. Like, no, this is real, dude, So until you see it in person, I don't know why anyone would want to go through war or wish that upon anyone. But to your point on how it defunds it is that Bitcoin is finite. You can't just print, a couple hundred trillion or a couple hundred billion and send it overseas, right? So I think when it comes to a finite resource or a scarce resource like Bitcoin, which is verifiable, which gold is not, US dollars are not, I think you have to be very strategic in how you use those resources. So it's like, hey, let's say our treasury has, I'm just making this very small for argument's sake. Say we have 10 Bitcoin that the federal government holds, right? What percentage do we use towards war? What percentage do we use towards transportation? What percentage do we use towards infrastructure? And I think things change when you can't just, 2 mouse clicks and print, billions of trillions of dollars, if that makes sense. So in my opinion, that's how it defunds it. You can still go to war, but you're going to use a big chunk of your reserves to do so.
It really is incredible. You touched on something too, and we don't need to go down the rabbit hole necessarily. I mean, you can touch on it here if you want, but it's like the weaponization of words. It's like you said, the classical liberal that used to be the fiscally conservative person. They were against war, like all these things, and then it's been co-opted. Like I feel like Fiat weaponizes all these, like Social Security, right? Like we've bastardized all these words, and that's what Fiat does. Like you don't even know, you can't define words, and now we've actually seen the redefinition of words, literally. Not just figuratively over the last 100 years. So it just, again, another thing Fiat just absolutely destroys.
I was just going to say, to finish my, not the war point, but the previous point, because I don't want to come off as like, oh, this guy's a finance guy, he wants Bitcoin to become part of finance. That's not the point. What I was going to say is it's after 2020, after COVID, if you don't understand what money is, you're an idiot. Okay. If you don't understand why everything at Home Depot went up 150% or at the grocery store went up 100%, you are literally an ostrich with your head in the sand. You are literally the meme of, hey, that's crazy. Catch the game last night, the guy in front of the grill, right? I wish I was that guy. I want to be that guy. That's my favorite meme of all time. And also the midwit meme with the bell curve.
Yeah.
But my point is after 2020, if you were, 15 years or older, let's call it 5 years ago, and you still don't understand money, that's on you, dude.
I couldn't agree more. So, you have a 20-year background, really, 10 years publicly, of building and teaching millions of people over that time period. And there's not many people that can say that. So it's, what are the 99% getting wrong about money? And that's why, again, we talk about these like couple percent, trying to get just a couple percent of people that think like we do to understand and pull society over. Why? So you've seen thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of comments, things come across your radar on all the different platforms over the last 10 years. What is it like? Why are people liking especially the young generation, liking socialism so much? It's socialism and communism has killed, millions and millions and millions of people over the last, just century alone. Why is it that people are liking socialism? And is it just really as simple as like the printing of the money, the inflation, that the cancel on effect, and those at the top getting everything? And I would love for you to just unpack some of this and why we're seeing this. And I was just listening to a Jeff Booth, handful of videos this week of Jeff Booth just going down that rabbit hole again, and just him talking about deflation. And obviously technology is very deflationary. And so I would love for you to unpack this a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, why do people buy shit coins? It's the same answer, because they want to get rich quick, or they feel like they're so disenfranchised with the current system that Bitcoin's only going to go up maybe 30, 40, 100%. I want to hit the 1000x. I want to hit the 2000x. So that's why people buy shit coins. Why are people sports betting more than ever now? Is it late stage empire? Is it because the money's broken? Do they feel disenfranchised? Probably. So the way that I look at it is everything that's connected to the financial system goes up in price. Stocks, real estate, anything that's connected to that financial system. So I'm, the area that I'm in, let's call it, houses were literally, let's just say $100,000 in 2012, 2013. Those same houses are now $400,000 or $500,000. Okay. So at what point do you feel that the American dream, and when I say American dream, I just mean the dream of, owning a home, starting a family, not being a perpetual renter your entire life, having pride in ownership, right? Pride in community. When that doesn't feel achievable, kids are too expensive to have. I can't have kids. Houses are too expensive. I can't buy a house. Cars are too expensive. I have to summon the Uber or take the bus, right? So at what point do you feel disenfranchised with this system, which is currently capitalism, to your point, to where you just want to do the other thing, which is communism or socialism, where everyone gets a little slice of the pie and we all pay 50, 60% income tax, right? So here's the thing. I see it from both sides. I go to Europe a lot where taxes are 30, 40, 50%. I live in the United States where taxes are 30% and I get half the things that Europeans do. But I have a more materially rich life and salaries are higher, things like that. So at what point, do you choose one or the other? So to your point, I think that younger people are more enamored with socialism, get a slice of the pie, communism, just because the money really is broken and everything's so expensive. If you just look at how much wages have gone up and you look at how much asset prices have gone up, it's pulling the middle class. It's making middle class smaller and making the diametrically opposed between the haves and the have-nots even bigger.
If you like that clip, then you definitely got to check out this next spicy clip. I think you're really going to like it. Come on, check it out. But if you want the full version, the full interview, then check that out over here. Come on, do it. I'll see you in there.